Okay, this session will be talking about LIV at MB, which is going to be launched this weekend. Good luck to those of you who are going ahead. So anyway, for those of you who are still wondering on the sidelines, still thinking what are the pros and cons of LIV at MB, let's just have a look at some of them. We are not going to be covering all, of course. If not, it's going to be taking a hell long time. So anyway, this is the artwork for LIV MB. As you can see, it's a very nice development. For those of you who've been to the show flat, you realize that actually, yes, it's a very nicely done showcase of this upcoming development. Okay, and then yeah, we'll talk about it. And before we go ahead, the interesting thing is, so this happened. I remember I just did like maybe I should do a prophecy. I just did this topic just on 10th of May, and guess what? That time I didn't actually I don't actually monitor the crypto market. I only threw in like maybe a few $100,000 for fun. And I don't even monitor it. But the thing is, that time when I did this topic, I didn't realize that it has already dropped to this extent. And honestly, I did not expect it to go all the way like this. And I heard really quite a lot of people really got out quite badly. But for those of you who managed to cash out at this point, congrats to you. Big congrats to you. I suppose you really quite a lot. And really averted quite a disaster. Yesterday, I was reading some horror stories about people losing their big chunk of their portfolios because they leverage, which is quite interesting. I'm really quite amazed by how people actually throw in so much and even leverage to throw into something that I feel, I don't know. I still think that crypto is a rather new thing to us. So definitely not my expertise. So let's hope not. Anyway, disclaimer, whatever I share here in my video is just based on my own point of view, my own research, and it doesn't represent any others. So just up to your own discretion on how you want to use the data. Anyway, for those of you who are wondering, this is the actual location of LIV MB. It is quite close to the upcoming Katong Park, which is an advantage if MRT is important aspect to you, although it is likely going to be pushed back to 2024, 2025 because of the construction crunch, the labor crunch, all these here and there. And then you can see there's actually quite a lot of basically this whole area is more of like a private enclave other than the HDB over here. And then you've got this whole chunk of private condos over here, and then also the prestigious bunch of bungalows here, some of which are quite nice. For those of you who have time, you can drive past Wilkinson. I think there are some of my not say favorite I really like some of the bungalows. They're quite interesting. So this is quite a nice area to live in. Some basic information I'm not going to be sharing. All the land size is pretty decent. For unit size is almost 300, which is quite okay. And then expected vacant possession likely going to be probably I think 2 to 5 lah. Usually this one they tend to be a little bit more conservative, so I believe should be about 2 to 5. Anyway, typical maintenance fee, even for one bedroom, I think compared to some other developments, it's not that cheap. But then again, I feel monthly maintenance fees are not really like a deciding factor. Although some people may think, $100-200 a lot more, but actually if you stretch it out to $100 per month extra, over let's say 10 years, 120 months, this is like only how much? 12,000 more for 10 years. So I don't think it really matters that much. Okay, and then there are the percentage seems to be more skewed towards the 2 and 3 bedrooms. Bukit Sembawang, I think this is the developer, and track record is pretty decent. I think these are quite nice developments, although whether they actually make money is another issue. Okay. Well, by the way, just because some developments they are nice, they are really done really quite nicely. Doesn't mean you can make money. It is a lot more than that. I've seen developments that are really cui. A lot of people say it's so cui, so badly done, but actually make truckloads of money. So you can see some people, they swear by developers or developers so important. From what I see, the numbers doesn't really show it. It's more of like as usual, common hearsays, or my friends say this, or my friends say that, or my parents say this, that, and then I believe. So in today's market, if you don't look at the raw hard data, if you go for the common hearsays, I think you want to make money, I think you're in for quite a ride, I would say. Anyway, let's go on to the supply. Within 1 km radius, you got this whole bunch of people, which doesn't seem like quite a lot because you got a whole chunk of landed and all this over here. And then below, you also got a coastline. So not much not exactly really cluttered like the Newton area. But then again, let's go ahead and go and zoom into the units, and you realize that although it's not as cluttered, everything, if you add them all up, is actually about 5,000 plus before LIV came out. I think I even forgot to add River Edge. So River Edge, if you add 100 plus, about 5,006 plus before even LIV comes out. If you add in LIV, there's about 300. That will be about 590 plus units. And that is pretty much actually cross the threshold of the 5,000 mark that we usually use lah. So it'll be interesting to see how LIV performs. Definitely it's going to be quite challenging. It really depends on the price point. It really depends on the price point. But by the looks of it, the indicative doesn't seem very optimistic at this point. But who knows? Who knows what developers will do, right? But judging from the lack of new launch supply, it wouldn't be surprising that they check out the prices more, because the market, it is a seller's market overall. The developers have the upper hand at this point in the market. And this photo is from the courtesy of Stack Homes. I think it's I didn't take a picture when I was there. I was there during the agent's preview, and then obviously they didn't let us take a picture, and then if you go in there, it's quite a nice, nicely done up scale model. I was more attracted to the scale model than the actual show flats, because after all, the showrooms are pretty much more or less the same to me. Finishings are decent. Layout is quite decent. But I was more wowed by the scale model than the than the showroom itself. Okay. Okay, so we put out a few developments. There is no 199-year leasehold that is recent and of a comparable characteristics to LIV. So it's hard to say. It is quite a challenge to really know what's going to be happening. But then again, let's take a look at the performance of nearby immediate facility. What do we have? That is more recent. How did they perform? And then you've got your line at Tanjong Rhu, which is pretty much flat for the past almost 10 years, and also 8M residences, which is just beside. And then you got your One Mayor on the trend down, you got the Mayor House on the trend down, you also got Mayor Mansion on the trend down. And mind you, these are all freeholds in the area, and this area is dominated by the freeholds. Okay, which is one concern for LIV MB, because it's the only 99 in the immediate vicinity. Of course, we got River Edge, which is older, but River Edge doesn't seem to be doing as well on its own by itself. So this one is I would say quite a tricky place. It's a little bit similar situation to what Copa is facing right now. So we'll see. Interesting. For line at Tanjong Rhu, only round trip transaction, we only seen one guy who I don't think he's even afloat. Definitely underwater, because buyer stamp duty is enough to kill him already. And then you got two people who lost money in this area. As you can see, Tanjong Rhu is a very nice area. I have friends and clients who really I want to stay in Tanjong Rhu area. It's my dream location, blah blah blah. And then okay, I mean, if it's your dream location, then, but if you don't really care about money, please go ahead. But if you do care about money, then maybe this may not be a place that you want to buy, but it may be a place, if you really want to stay in, maybe a good place to rent. For 8M residences, fare a little bit better. On the other hand, not as prominent as the line. I think the line is quite unique. But then the thing is, there are more people who actually transacted and made money for 8M, and then still two who lost money, and actually more money was lost than was made. Okay, the other three of them are still uncompleted, so it's hard to say. And then for layout, I think the good plus point on the other hand for LIV MB is that the layout is nice. And then there's also the funny thing is there's kitchen. The kitchen side there's windows for all the 1 and 2 bedrooms, which makes it enclosable. I think it's a plus point definitely for LIV MB. For those of you who are buying for own stay, you really like. If you want to do heavy cooking on this, I think you can still do it. The layout is pretty forgiving. Room size probably not. As you can see, the 2 bedroom is probably fitting can only fit one single. But then again, if you're just staying on your own, or you maybe just a young couple, only 2 people staying in a house, this may be a good study area. Okay, but overall, I would say layout is pretty decent. But as I usually see it layout, if your point of view is to make money, then probably layout is not that important. When we look at the master plan, yes, there are some land plots around the area that has not been developed, which makes it a little bit tricky, because if when exactly is the government going to be launching a land, and then if they are going to be launching it longer down the road, not so early, because some of this land has been empty for vacant for very, very, very long. And then if that's the case, will you be able to play the waiting game versus your neighbors who are all freeholds? Will they be able to play the waiting game better than you do? And if so, and even if you do play the waiting game with them, how long will you be able to hold on? And also, what are the price points that your surrounding lands that are going to be launched, and will it bring advantage to you, or is it going to be dragging you down? Later I'll show some examples, because when it comes to this kind of places, a lot of people like to say, oh, this area there's a lot of land, there's going to be more development in this area. Wow, got MRT, everything come up. But they don't realize that actually MRT coming up doesn't really mean that you're going to make money. Because if you think about it, 2 to 3 years down the road, you know that you as a seller, that you're going to be, there's an MRT coming up. Will you be selling cheap to the next owner? I think definitely not, right? Because you yourself will be thinking, they tell my buyer, MRT will be coming up, that's why it's worth the premium here and there. But the funny thing is, when people buy, they will buy with emotion and justify with their so-called logic, or maybe in most cases flawed logic. Maybe I buy already, once the MRT open up, the price will shoot up. And then if you look at the actual data, actually it doesn't. The funny thing is, it doesn't. But unfortunately, that's what everyone thinks. But I don't blame them. They don't do their fair share of research, so it's to their own disadvantage. And then let's see. When it comes to places with more land that's going to be coming up, let's say example, you buy the development A, and then B, C, D comes up. What's going to be happening? Let's see. Because when it comes to exit plan, it's very important in this sense. Let's see, in this case, we have D that is the youngest, and then we got A, which is the oldest. A and B, you see, when actually B and C and D came out later. But then again, what happened? A lot of people will think that C and D come out, it's more expensive, right? Then A and B will benefit, and then they will because they sell high, I will be able to sell higher, right? And then look at this is what is happening. A reaches this point, pretty much stagnate even till today, where the market is super hot. And then when it comes to B, same thing, reaches here, stagnates to where it is. On the other hand, C is able to move, and then till today is still moving, as compared to D, which has already moved but is even moving even higher. So quite confusing, right? So the exact factors I'm not going to be sharing here, because it's going to be taking a lot of time. If you want to, you can find out from me directly. So this is just one area of Singapore, and then we flip to another area. This one, on the other hand, A is the oldest, E is the newest in this area. And then we'll see right at this point last time during the previous market play, during the TDS hub period, till now is about the same. And therefore B actually till now it has actually dropped lower than the previous market peak, which is quite unfortunate, because imagine for you held on thinking that there's going to be a few parcels of land coming out, it's going to so-called boost your land price, but on the other hand, it makes it even worse. Same goes for D. He has peaked around this period. For those of them who got out and hop onto other opportunities, 2016 was quite a good year opportunity, 2016 to 2017. And then if they hopped out and they hopped on to something else, they would have been able to see much more upside. But unfortunately, no, those who didn't get out, they'll be holding on. And same goes for C. In fact, the C was the worst. I think those guys who got in at the launch day they got the worst. So this shows that just because you get in, you rush in at the first day of balloting, while you think you get the first mover advantage, you get the first ticket, and then you are gonna be better, getting a much better deal than everyone. This is an example of a case where this is not what you think it is. It's just because you got in at the first day doesn't mean that you got the best deal, because there are things that can happen. We have seen Piccadilly Grand a lot. Wow, very hot, everything. And then guess what? Government comes in with the trust implementation. The trust. For those of you who don't realize that if you want to buy under trust, previously there's no ABSD, and then now you have a 35% ABSD slapped. And so, but will those people be able to fork out the money, and then will it ruin the plans of those people? And by the way, after this, if you do happen to withdraw because of this cooling measure, there's not going to be any leniency in terms of penalty. The people will still have to pay penalty for that. So when that happens, will you what are the chances? So is it better to rush with everyone to the show fed and then go and ballot, or is it better to sit at the sideline and wait? Sometimes it's hard to say. Okay, on the other hand, you got E also reached this point, and even till today, we have seen since 2019 till now, we have seen how the market has shifted for many other developments, but this guy hasn't shifted. This guy has been staying stagnant. So you can see this one is a high growth area. There are plots of land. You can see this one launched, and then this one launched, and then this one launched. But how long did it take for them to reach stagnancy? Okay, then we got one more. Just because the rest reach stagnancy, it doesn't mean that some other areas that are. Oh, by the way, this is a place that I would say a lot of people won't even consider. But you can see, for example, A, okay, this is the earliest, this one is the oldest in this case. A reached this point and then stagnate all the way. B is not that bad. B has been stagnating for quite a while, recently started moving again. And then you got C that has dropped already. But for those of them who held on, actually went up. Okay, not to say that D underperformed because it's only they have been moving up on their own also. But this one you can see is closing the gap. But will we be able to totally close the gap? I really doubt so. I really don't think so, because after all, this chap is still a lot younger than this one. But what are the fundamentals behind that allows C to be able to play this catch-up game that fast? Okay, what are the fundamentals behind it, and but will you be able to spot the many different characteristics that allows a development to be able to hold on and still appreciate versus others that are like this, going sideways, and why this guy is not moving as fast as the yellow guy? Okay, so anyway, back to the indicative price guide for LIV. This one is not guaranteed. It's just indicative. It's always subjected to change depending on the demand on the actual day. And then we take a look based on this estimate, based on the price indicative given. We are looking at one bedroom. These are one bedroom. One bedroom, we are looking at 1,250 and above. And then you got your two bedroom at 2,002 and above. Three bedroom is a little bit lower at 2,050. It seems that they are anticipating lesser demand over that side. On the other hand, you got your four bedroom is actually starting at a higher PSF than your three bedrooms. And what are the PSF that you feel that is able to enter, and will the facing be able to give it a leeway, and will our banded number be able to get such a good number that it gives you the choice that you want, or on the other hand, will the developer launch at a price where in history repeats itself, you end up being killed? Because after all, this guy over here, remember, is always at the disadvantage compared to your neighbors, and that's why your entry price is very, very, very important. And for those of you who haven't realized that, it seems that the market wasn't able to accept the freehold prices at this kind of prices, this kind of range. So if the eventual prices come out very close to this, then I don't see why people wouldn't actually go back to these guys over here, which are freehold, and they will be able to play a waiting game much better, right? Okay, so hence for the actual ballot day on this weekend, wish you guys good luck. Please be very, very, very careful when it comes to choosing the unit that you want, and please don't be afraid to walk out if the deal is not good, because sometimes like what I show you, what I showed just now, just because you are first in line doesn't mean that you are getting the best deal, and it happened to a few others like Affinity last time, because they were slapped with cooling measure. Whatever the government is doing, right after, they are the government, they can always do something after you have made an action, you have taken an action. So we'll see. So verdict, I think for a 99 in the freehold area, I really don't see, for myself, I wouldn't put my money there if I want to appreciate, if I want to make an investment. If I want to play the long-term rental game, yes, can, but remember your rental gains are taxable. There are a lot of hurdles to the rental game, and of course it takes time. And if you experience a loss, paper loss, how are you going to, is all your efforts in terms of rental gains going towards your paper loss in terms of capital loss? Okay, is that actually worth it? Imagine there are quite a lot of owners who thought that they make money through rental, but actually the rental ended up paying for their capital loss. And I wouldn't say, I would say why I put this guy over here. Okay, because this is like a guinea pig in the area. I'm releasing a guinea pig in the area where it's flooded by a freehold tigers in the area. I have no idea how market will accept, because it really depends on the price point that you enter. Basically, unless you really, really want to buy the location, because it's considerably, if you want to buy something that is new, that is affordable, there's a full condo facilities, yes, I would say LIV MB is quite a nice place to stay in, for sure. I think it does have its own merit. It's built by Bukit Sembawang, which is quite known for its quality. But then again, if you're looking for like a sure higher possibility of making capital appreciation, I would say the LIV MB is more of this guy. Okay. I think that will be all we'll be sharing for today. Yep, just be careful, because even if you do get into such a development with empty land, when it comes to exit plan, you have to be very, very, very careful. If you choose whoever your consultant is, or whoever your agent is, please make sure that they'll be able to advise you correctly on when to exit, when is the right time to exit, how will you be able to monitor the market well, so that you'll be able to exit in time. Because when it comes to a leasehold, you are generally not able to play the waiting game as well as your freehold neighbors, because they are going to be the real, I would say, the ones with the advantage in the area. That'll be all for today, and then good luck, guys, for those of you going ahead with the ballot, and then see you. Bye bye.